Lee Child's Jack Reacher books are about an ex-military crime-solving prodigy who's built like a brick shithouse, has a mind like a steel trap, and is basically good at fucking everything because army, who travels the United States as a no-frills drifter using his exceptional skills to beat up bad guys and solve mysteries frequently relating to injustices perpetrated against his fellow servicemen, allowing him to comfortably straddle a line between just patriotic enough to be righteous about the Brotherhood of Armed Service, while also rebellious enough and anti-establishment enough to call out and defy cretinous superiors and brace at bureaucratic rigidity. And for some reason, instead of becoming a syndicated TV vehicle for whoever the present-day equivalent of Kevin Sorbo or Lorenzo Lamas is, somebody decided that this needed to be a movie franchise for Tom Cruise whenever the 54-year-old action star decides he needs some jogging in between increasingly interchangeable Mission Impossible sequels. Now, the first movie was really nothing special, not at all, but at least it had the temerity to lean into the ridiculousness of its own premise. Lots of scenes where characters talked up Jack Reacher as this legendary, mythic ass-kicker who beats up dozens of guys at a time like he's fucking Wolverine, is so good at using every conceivable weapon that people recognize him by taking rifle shots that only the famous Jack Reacher could have possibly made. Every woman immediately going all wobbly and smitten at the first glance of him, and basically playing him off like a black velvet painting of John Cena in human form. Well, meanwhile, up there on screen, it's still just itty-bitty little Tommy Cruise. Oh, but they also got Werner Herzog to play the bad guy in the first one, so points for that. The new film doesn't really have much of that or anything else going on in its favor. To be honest, the whole thing feels like a really obvious rush job, right down to the fact that it relocates from Washington, D.C. to New Orleans for no particular reason, which is the current movie location shorthand for, we're doing this shit so cheap we're gonna take that Louisiana tax credit and we're not even gonna bother dressing up the state to look like it's supposed to be someplace else. As far as the story is concerned, there really isn't much of one. Jack Reacher shows up in D.C. basically looking to make an impromptu booty call on a female army major he's been playing phone tag with, and discovers she's been framed for murder as part of a conspiracy to cover up nefarious goings-on involving Blackwater-style private military contractors, because that's who you use for bad guys when you want to do a movie about shady shit going on in the military, but don't actually want the actual military to be at all cross with you. Heaven forbid. The whole thing basically turns into an oddly slow-paced cross-country chase story, which, for reasons I'm assuming made thematic sense as part of a multi-volume book series, and they do here, for some reason also needs to involve Reach's maybe not previously unknown teenage daughter getting dragged along as Reacher and Kobe Smulders as the major dodge a singularly uninteresting set of bad guys until the film has run approximately long enough to qualify as a feature, and presumably give the film's predominantly China-based production investors the ability to have Tom Cruise's face on Chinese movie posters in time for the late fall movie-going season. Now, the sole noteworthy thing in the film is finding out just how much of an action movie asset the Marvel movies have been wasting in Kobe Smulders. Sure, she gets to fire off some guns and look cool in the S.H.I.E.L.D. outfit as Maria Hill, but here she gets full-on knockdown, drag-out beatdowns, and she looks like a legit beast doing it. It's a hell of a physical turn from an actress we never see this kind of thing from, and it's one of the only refreshing and lively things in an otherwise disposable feature. Even if at this point, after Edge of Tomorrow and Mission Impossible, I imagine we're used to this exact character being a Tom Cruise movie mainstay from here on out. After all, what better way to bank progressive feminist goodwill while also helping an increasingly all-too-human Mr. Cruise lighten the fight scene load? Jack Reacher Never Go Back would probably be offensively terrible if it bothered to even try hard enough to offend, but we aren't even that lucky, and I'm not sure if that's better or worse. 1 star, nobody needs